distinct pleasure today to be joining all of you to present the Grassroots Leadership Award for this year. You know, it's really an honor to be able to do this, and my name is Roger Berry. I am the administrator of the Nebraska Ethanol Board, and I'm also an ACE board member. I want to give you just remind everybody what this award is about. As I said before, it's called the Grassroots Leadership Award. It goes to an individual or group who works behind the scenes to advance the cause of ethanol. The recipients represent the unsung heroes of the nation's ethanol industry and agriculture and are recognized for their pivotal role in protecting the grassroots voice that founded the industry while pushing it forward into the future. You know, when we talk about grassroots, this year's recipient, Jan tenBensel, just instantly comes to mind because Jan truly is basically the definition of grassroots activism when it comes to ethanol. Jan is a farmer from Cambridge, Nebraska, and he's also, as administrator of the Nebraska Ethanol Board, proud to say he's also the chairman of the Nebraska Ethanol Board, and just really enjoy Jan's passion, his always moving forward for the ethanol industry and everything that he does for the ethanol industry. He is not afraid to not take no for an answer, but he does it in a way that doesn't make you mad or anything like that. But he will wear you down, let me tell you. And it's great to have that in Jan because he gets things done that way. And as I said before, just truly does things in a grassroots way and makes it really enjoyable to see him move forward in the industry. He's the type of person that when he pulls into the gas station, if there's somebody next to him not using ethanol, he's going to visit with them about it. You know, he's always looking for a need. And there was a special project that came up just as we were going in to the problems that we started having with COVID-19. Got a phone call late one night. It was from Jan. He says, we're going to throw together a hand sanitizer distribution facility, basically a processing center, I guess is what you could call it. And I thought, Jan, my gosh, how are you going to do this? But because of the way Jan does things, within a week, him and Dr. Hunter Floodman at the University of Nebraska had put together a production facility that was up and going within 1 week to provide hand sanitizer out to all areas in the state of Nebraska. And it actually wound up going even further than the state of Nebraska, going across the country, but getting hand sanitizer into those places that needed the protection that the hand sanitizer was going to give them. So it is my great honor today to take part in this presentation of the Grassroots Leadership Award to Jan tenBensel. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Scott McPheeters. Scott?
Sure, thanks, Roger. He loves people. He's always inclusive to everyone around him, and he actually loves to learn. He loves to teach. And, you know, it's important to be cheerful when you're teaching, and he's always cheerful and, you know, enthusiastic is one of the words that comes to mind. And he's really kind of the right mix of confidence and humility. So it's really fun to work with him, which he is hardworking, and he likes to be early. Just so you know, if you ever ride with Jan, he's going to show up when you're still, you know, on your way out the door. And he is generous with his time and resources, and both those are important, and they're in short supply. He's a busy guy, but he'll always stop to answer a phone call or answer a question. So, you know, he's just the type of guy that you want on your team. So congratulations, Jan. You are a grassroots guy if I ever saw one.
Well, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Roger. You know, I'm very humbled and honored to be presented with this award. You know, as Scott can tell you, I'm not out for acclamation. I'm just here to help keep the farm going and help farmers and help the ethanol industry, you know, move forward. But, you know, I've had so many people that have helped me and have helped me learn, and that have been resources for me to learn from. And the biggest thing that I've learned, working with the Nebraska Ethanol Board is how quickly I found out how little I knew about things, and how generous everyone else has been with their time and their knowledge to help me grow myself and better my knowledge of the industry and of the problems that the industry faces. The biggest problem that I see is that things move forward so quickly. We are constantly having a new fire to put out, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly. Hopefully we can make it a month, but it's constantly another full set of knowledge to generate, and just an entirely new set of things to learn. And it doesn't matter that you spent the entire last month, learning how exactly how vapor pressure is going to affect fuel. It's a new subject this month. So you really have to stay up on it. And I just thank everybody that's helped me out. I mean, I bug the heck out of people. I ask a lot of questions. But the important thing is that, we're all in this together. Everybody needs to, step forward and talk to people and do whatever they can do to further the industry. This is so important for the economy of the Midwest, for every farmer out there, every ethanol plant employee or owner. Furthering the industry is such an important thing that we can do. And like I say, I'm just so honored and so I'm really surprised by this. I'm just absolutely honored and humbled to be presented with this award.
We have the honor of, in an unconventional way, I suppose you could say, making some award presentations to some very deserving people. And my friend and my colleague, Ron Lamberty, and I have the sincere honor of teaming up to present the Merle Anderson Award to our friend and former president of the ACE Board, Bob Scott. The Merle Anderson Award, it's named, of course, after the founding father of the American Coalition for Ethanol, a tenacious Minnesota farmer by the name of Merle Anderson, who was a driving force behind, getting people excited about ethanol in certainly the Midwest region, but all across the country. In the late 1980s, Bob was managing radio stations in the great state of North Dakota when, sort of out of the blue, an opportunity was presented to him to have a career change by helping market the ethanol and lobby the North Dakota legislature for this company called Alchem that had an ethanol plant in Grafton, North Dakota. And so Bob said, why not? And that's when, after joining Alchem, he became familiar with the American Coalition for Ethanol by attending some meetings. And Merle Anderson himself, in fact, asked Bob if he would run for election on the board of directors, which Bob did. And I think it was 90 or 91, Bob, you were elected to the board to represent Alchem. And Bob's talent, his skill as an ethanol advocate and ethanol marketer was noticed by the name of a fellow that might be familiar to you, Jeff Broin. At the time, he had this small company called Broin that later, of course, became known as Poet. And so Bob was tapped to market ethanol for Broin companies. That brought him back to South Dakota, back to Sioux Falls, where he had grown up for part of his childhood. And he helped run the ethanol marketing firm Poet Ethanol Products. Bob was elected the president of the American Coalition for Ethanol in 1999, and he served in that capacity for 10 years or more, retiring upon his retirement from Poet Ethanol Products. It was a matter of when, not if, Bob Scott was going to get the Merle Anderson Award. And a couple reasons really stand out. Along with Scott Parsley, Bob, really under your tenure is when the American Coalition for Ethanol stepped out in front of every other organization and said, we need a renewable fuel standard. It was ACE that was the driving force behind getting Congress to enact the renewable fuel standard, and you were president at the time. And I remember I was so proud of the fact that the White House called you 15 years ago now, in 2005, when the 2005 energy bill was adopted with the original RFS, and invited Bob Scott, the president of the American Coalition for Ethanol, to join the bill signing with President Bush, which you did. And I also think that you deserve credit for taking ACE from a scrappy regional organization to a nationally recognized voice. And so congratulations are in order. We're so happy for you, and we're happy to be able to present this award to you. So I'm going to turn it over to Ron to share some of his thoughts.
Bob and I go back way back. That's why we both have white beards, I suppose. But prior to my coming to ACE, I worked with the American Coalition for Ethanol to put E85 pumps in a few different places. And so it was always great for me that a guy who I had talked to in a capacity where I bought ethanol from him during certain times, that marketing background was there. So that we could talk about how we go out and approach some of these companies in parts of the countries where they didn't have any ethanol was great, because we were able to go to places we'd never been and just teach people the math of it. And the focus at that time was far more about marketing than politics, but it quickly became political with the RFS. And Bob adapted seamlessly and was one of the leaders that explained how the renewable fuel standard would be a way that you give flexibility to marketers, and at the same time, you know, they could concentrate on how they could make more money selling ethanol, how it was a good product that they would increase their bottom line with. So I was always appreciative of having Bob as a marketing advisor as I was going out to try and help these other companies across the country learn how to get ethanol and sell it and make more money. And Brian, you're right. It's one of those, that time when we got to the point where we were, you know, just about ready to bust out from being in that, you know, ethanol was in that 1.5 to 2 billion gallon range. And we saw this RFS and we saw all the growth in production. And again, Bob adapted perfectly to that and was helpful wherever he could and knew who could be helpful if it wasn't him. I mean, I still hear from Bob, you know, at least, I don't know, once a month, once every couple of months with some question he has or recommendation he has. You're always showing up at our fly-ins and our annual conferences. And so we still have your wise counsel, and we appreciate it. And you were a great president. You're, you know, a great advocate for ethanol and a very good friend. And this couldn't go to a nicer guy. Congratulations.
Thank you for that. I have to tell you, I was so surprised when I found out about this that I was speechless. But I thank you for all those kind words. But you know, for me, it was just a labor of love. And you guys know how I felt about ACE, and still do. And you know how I felt about the ethanol industry. It was just the right thing to do. And I heard that right away from Merle Anderson, of course. And he convinced me it is the right thing to do. And the more we went, the farther we saw that to be the truth. And what a wonderful board to work with. It's truly the best board I've ever been a part of, just because everybody was passionate about the same thing. We're all at a place we were trying to get to. And, you know, it was so fun. And I miss that. But I think you give me credit for that. I thank you for that. But you guys need to put a lot of that credit back to yourselves. Part of the reason it was such a great board and so easy to get things done is because you guys made the work of the board pretty easy. That was part of the great fun. We had just such a wonderful staff, and for a handful of people, got more work done than I don't know who could outdo that. But it was always just so much fun to work together because we just wanted to get stuff done, and we had a great reason to do what we were doing. That whole RFS thing, I would say, Brian, when I look back, that was one of our favorite times. I think we challenged ourselves and we challenged everybody else. Some who thought we were crazy, and surely the chance to go watch the bill be signed by the president was a fun time for me. But all the things that we did together as a group and made this thing work was times that I will never forget. I know you have a great board now, and I just challenge to keep going, keep pushing on, and keep working with it. Just a great part of my life. So, again, I thank you.